So he goes to the bathroom, and this something in the kitchen popped its head out and then went back in.
Oh, fuck.
And I remember looking at it and being like, huh, interesting.
Well, everybody, welcome to another episode of Ectoplasm and Evil.
Ectoplasm and Evil, let's go. We got a very special guest in the building today. It's our boy, Curly.
Yes.
Give it up for Curly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
My favorite couple and my favorite couples ever.
Oh, wow.
So beautiful.
Too kind.
So
Amazing. What an honor. You're the best.
There's a beautiful new statue out front that I was like, yeah.
Shout out to Mark Otero for that. My boy Marky
Yes,
Mark.
That was a gift.
Oh, it was a gift?
Yeah.
It was a gift, yeah.
I want like a giant like Virgen de Guadalupe in my house. Like that would be...
Yo, that'd be fire.
Yes.
Maya's mom was telling me that she accidentally bought her mom what she thought was going to be like a regular statue.
Uh-huh.
And then when she went to pick it up, it was this massive...
That's so
Oh, man.
sick.
And the family was like, where are we going to put that? But
Yeah.
I'm like, if that was me, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
we're finding space.
I'll move the bed out of my house. Like, I'll have the statue there. Absolutely.
It's like the 12-foot Home Depot skeleton.
I haven't-
You gotta find it. Have you not seen that?
I've never seen
You
that.
never seen that?
No.
Oh my gosh, it was like a phenomenon. I think the year pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
It's this 12-foot
We'll send you some videos.
Yeah.
We've seen mad people in LA with it, honestly.
Yeah, some people have multiple. There was one house that had like just a bunch of them everywhere in their yard for Halloween, and it's just like the big thing that everyone's obsessed with. It always sells out.
Oh my god, I've never even knew that. You learned something new.
Yeah, it's very cool. It has like robot eyes and stuff, so it's very cool.
Y'all love like scary stuff. That's,
Yes.
like,
We do.
Yes, sir.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
What is ectoplasm, by the way?
Ooh, it's
It's
ghost
funny.
goo.
It's funny that he says that.
Yeah.
Because, so you know what's interesting is I recently learned something new as well.
Yes.
So ectoplasm, there's two meanings. The one that I've always known is it's the stuff that paranormal entities are made of, like the
Okay.
material,
Okay.
right? That if you believe in that sort of a thing.
I do. I believe in almost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ghost would be made of. The material is called ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm.
Okay.
And so recently I sent the podcast to one of my day one homies, Josh. Shout out Jay Knack if you're listening, and which I know he will be.
Yeah.
So Josh is a doctor. And then so he hit me up and he was like, bro, where the fuck did you get ectoplasm from? I'm like, what you mean? And he's like, as far as I know, and he sends me this link, ectoplasm is also a term in biology. It's like a part of a cell or something. It's like something very actually scientific and different.
Yeah.
Like than the way we understood it. So he was like, I bet you're going to get a bunch of like biologists listening to your
Yeah,
podcast
I
that are
love it.
very
It's like,
Where
confused.
is the
I
ectoplasm in
love
this?
that though. It's gonna be a little bit of both. It's gonna
Yeah.
be nerds all around.
Yeah, exactly,
Ghost
exactly.
nerds and cell nerds.
Yeah,
Yes.
there we go. Well, listen, every stream counts.
Yeah.
How
we'll take
dirty
it.
can we get on this, by the way?
As dirty as you
No,
want.
no limits, no
I was like,
limits.
so like ghost jizz, but I'm like, I'm like, I don't know if your parents are listening.
We've often
don't
made
think they
that
do.
joke. We've often made that joke.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Who's
And-
mad at jizz? And-
Yeah. In fact,
No,
almost
no
every
one.
single person that's asked us that joke has probably come up.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. That's the first thing you think of is like just this gooey stuff that just falls on you. Which I mean, I believe in everything. I believe in ghosts and
Yeah.
spirits, and I think I've seen some a few times, and it's part of our culture too. Like even the way that they kind of scare you as kids, they tell you like ghost stories, like you
Yeah.
better come home early because da 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 da, right?
Right.
But like ectoplasm or just the idea, like even you saying like what they're physically made out of, you're like, what are they physically made out of?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably different for different creatures.
Right.
But yeah, like your general ghost.
Like what you think of when you think ghost.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Your family's from El Salvador, right?
Yeah, so my family's from Central America. They're all from there, and then they migrated to Hollywood. So then we all lived in Hollywood for a while, and then we slowly dispersed into different areas. But we have like our own. I mean, everyone in the world has like their own spirits and
Their own
ghosts and all
folklore.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
you know?
very interested to hear about your families. Yeah.
I mean, we have like even down to that area, like we have our own saints that they pray to that
Right.
are based off of apparently like indigenous spirits
Right.
that were kind of like transformed into more like saint-like things, so that
Right.
it was more acceptable to praise them.
Yeah.
But even they're kind of scary. A lot of people are afraid of them because they think it's like brujería, or they think like because the way that you have to praise some of them is. Should I just tell you?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
let's talk about
please.
brujería. I want to learn more about it.
Well, like, you know, por ejemplo, I'm not talking Spanish. There, for example, there is this one saint that's it's called San Simon, Saint Simon, basically. And he's based off of a spirit that I believe is an indigenous spirit. And my grandmother would tell me about him all the time, that he's very powerful, but he's very jealous. So if you work with him, and that's the terminology that we use, si tú trabajas con él, if you work with them, you have to make sure that he is your focus. And so the way that I was taught to praise him was that he liked three things. He liked cigarettes, alcohol, and porn. Which
Get out of here.
So interesting.
Which my kind of guy, right?
Yeah. He's
He has an
well-rounded.
appreciation for the finer things in life.
Absolutely. Look, the day that I go and you go visit my grave, those are the three things that I would like.
Cigarettes, alcohol, and porn.
Yes.
We got you.
Okay, let me rewind for a little bit here. So, how old would we say the spirit is?
I would say, I don't know. I would say that it's probably pre-Columbian, right? So
Okay.
before the arrival of Columbus is what I would say. And then that as it transitioned down, it's literally this statue that's sitting on a chair. And sometimes you can put the cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah.
Or you just lay them out. There's this beautiful...
That's so cool.
The reason I was asking though is
Yeah.
so from San Simon origins, at the time, did they have proper... They had alk, but did they have proper cigs? They probably had tobacco.
Yeah.
But they definitely didn't have
Yeah,
video.
I was ask about
video
porn.
porn.
Well, I mean, I wasn't thinking video. I was thinking more like magazines or
Yeah.
At the time, what they have drawings and maybe peep shows.
Yeah, they had drawings.
Probably a peep show.
People
Be a
have been
watcher.
drawing pornographic stuff since
Yeah,
For a long
forever.
time. Yeah, there's
We have
ancient temples in
statues.
India.
Yeah, absolutely.
That are doing it.
So it's just the way to... I feel
So
like...
San Simon definitely is down with progress in terms of now it's simplified. You just get a rolled up cig, some nice alk,
Yeah.
and porn, proper
And porn,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
two things. I always say that when I pop off, when I die, I would like to be remembered, because I don't drink or smoke in this life, right? Well, I just started smoking a little cigarettes here and there, but I don't do those things.
Just now?
Literally, okay, should I sidebar to my sidebar? Because
Yes.
I'm sober, I'm I'm celibate, I wait till I'm in a partnership to actually engage.
Cool, yeah.
And I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs, except
Right.
for the occasional microdose of shrooms, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I get really bored with myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a fucking nun. So I will go out, I will buy a pack of cigarettes, and I will smoke one. And I'm like, yes, that's all I just need to be a baddie for a
Yeah.
second. I just
Okay,
wanna
yeah.
be
It's just to express yourself.
Yeah, so I'm like, if when I pop off and nothing else matters, go and leave me my things so that I can enjoy them in heaven and be or wherever I'm at. Just be
Yes.
welcome to heaven, girl. That's literally gonna be me, half
yes.
naked.
Yeah.
Look at my gold chains, be like, whoa, what
And I
happened
guess,
to you?
plus also, you want to be able to relate to San Simon a little bit, right?
Yes.
I
you
mean,
have something
look,
to
I
talk
think
about.
that's why I like him too, because the story with him is he was a womanizer. And so
That
there's a
tracks.
story about how when he was in the village, the men would go out to hunt or do whatever, and while they were away, he would get to the women.
He's Mr. Steal Your
That's
Girl.
Yes,
amazing.
exactly. So then I don't know if the story was that they came back and they just didn't they just liked him and they're like, oh, it's whatever, who cares? It's Simon, I don't know, I don't remember.
just Simon.
Yeah, but I kind of did like him a little bit because I do feel like there's something about the person that's kind of a little bad, but you're but they're not. It's not the worst person, you
Right.
know. So there's something that I found relatable to him, especially because I'm sober,
Right.
and in the 10 years of my drinking drug career, I was just as wild, you
Yeah.
know. So I do like him, and I think that's kind of I actually don't work with him as much.
Okay.
And I do have him in my house. I do have statues and I do have dedicated areas for him.
Right.
But I'm like, hey, you're not going to be my sole person that I'm working with, but you're welcome to hang. And I do that a lot with spirits.
Is that violating the rule though? If in terms of he wants to be your focus?
Yeah, do you have to have one or can you have multiple?
Look, I feel like when I've worked and spoken to other brujos or other people who are in it, they work with both.
Wow.
They work with both, demons and angels, the devil and God. It's not, to me, it's a bigger understanding of the universe, right? That the yin and the yang, night and day,
Right.
you kind of work with both in a way.
Yeah.
Without when there's no other one, right? So I think that for me, whenever I invite spirits, and I'll have, something that I found this ring on the way here.
On the way here?
Yeah, it was in my pocket. Wait, so it's
Oh,
an
okay,
old ring. It's an old ring
okay,
in my
that's
pocket.
on the
Sorry.
road.
So what I like to do is, this is a 1940 40s or 50s Mexican biker ring. And so what they would do in the 50s is bikers would go down to Mexico, melt the pesos, and create these biker rings so that they could like knock people out.
Yes.
So this was from an estate from a gentleman who passed away, and somebody got it for me, and a bunch of like weird things started happening when I started wearing it. I don't really remember what, but I went into prayer and I was like, look, and this is what I do with all the spirits, right? I go, welcome to the team. I've been a crazy drunk drug addict. I've also been a person who has done a lot of good in my life.
Right.
I feel like when a show where like somebody's like half vampire, half human, I feel like that's me.
Okay.
I feel like I'm half of
the hybrid.
both.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like Blade.
I was just gonna say that.
Yes. You're like Blade, kid. So I feel like I'm very I'm like, come on, come on. Like, don't fuck around. This is a good energy space, so you're not going to come and cause like a bunch of stuff. I don't really believe in like doing harm to others. I don't really believe in bad things happening to me either. But if you are new and you just passed away and you want to just join the cause and join the movement, like, come through. You're home.
The spirit lingered with the ring.
I feel like it lingered a little bit. Like, who are you? But also I'm a gay dude and I'm like walking around naked in my house. I'm fucking jacking off every 2 seconds. Like, they're probably like, this guy's crazy. I'm gonna go back. I'm just gonna go to the light.
Jacking off every 2 ectoplasm everywhere.
Ectoplasm looking everywhere. This guy's like, whoo, never mind. You do. Y'all put it where? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I sometimes would scare them a little bit more than they would scare me.
Like, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'm not ready to haunt this guy. This guy, you know? So, no, I don't really get that scared, but my favorite spirit that I do work with is Marta la Dominadora.
Okay.
Martha the Dominator.
Ooh.
And yeah, and she's based Dominator. I'm like, why does that sound so weird in English? She's based off of a African spirit that was brought over, and then she's almost like the Black Madonna, right? Ooh. She's like a black mother figure with a black baby in her lap, and they hold 2 snakes. And they basically are used to dominate a situation. She's a protector of women. She will go in and kind of like open the path for you, you know? And so I pray to her. I actually have a lot of snakes on my body.
I was going to ask you, are your snake tattoos
My snakes are in honor of her.
Oh my gosh,
get out.
I love
Yeah, because
that.
I like her, and I like another one called Santa Barbara Africana, which is she looks more like the Virgin Mary and a baby Jesus, and because she has the veil, and the baby Jesus has like, they both have like the halo, but they're black. And so I like them more because I'm like, to me, I feel like they are more historically accurate in my head. So I'm like, that's where I'm going to go, and that's who I pray to. But what I like about these 2 spirits specifically is that they are mother figures. And when it comes to movement or asking for help in the spirit world or the universe, I feel like the mother energy, a healthy mother energy would be like, I'm going to protect you and I'm going to like open the path for you, but don't fuck around and stir shit up, you know? So they're also known for being like a little bit more like, you'll get a little slap on the wrist if you act up in any sort of way. So I just try to make sure that I stay
Have you
in
ever
line.
experienced that?
I was going to ask that too. Taking the words right out of my mouth.
No, I don't really. Look, I'm mischievous in my magic for sure. I'm so mischievous with like when I do brujeria, or I go into prayer mode, or I go into spell work. But I'm never like, I hope they are poor and suffer and da, 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 da. I'm just like, looks to camera like, maybe I shouldn't say that.
You can say it, we can cut it.
Well, no, I'm just like, I wish for like petty things. You know?
like a good petty thing.
I'm like, I hope they get like a little chunky in this area. I hope some hair falls out here and grows in this other place.
Yes.
I hope they don't lose the love handles in time for beach season.
Exactly. Like all those different things, like petty things. But then I think that, you know, because of the other side of me, I go into like, oh, fine. I'll wish them love, and I'll send them good energy, because when you send good stuff, you get good stuff back too. But I'm like, but that's so boring.
This highlights the duality you were talking about earlier with
absolutely.
Working with all sides, because everyone has like the petty side and then the like, oh well, maybe not.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, have y'all ever done like any sort? Look, by the way, I think any prayers that you do, anytime you burn anything, anytime you call on someone to help you, anytime you like click and clack and knock on something, that is a spell. In my opinion. Prayer is like a spell.
I learned one thing from my grandmother, and it's how to take the evil eye off of you. So I've done that a few times, and you like, you're literally burning a bunch of chilies, onion peel, garlic peel. You put a bunch of stuff in like a newspaper, and then you circle the person like 7 times. And this is kind of funny. I asked my grandma what you're supposed to say in your head.
Yeah.
And she said, you say whatever evil spell they cast on you or whatever like black magic they put
Return
on
to
you,
sender.
return it to sender.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like that's you like do your thing. You're taking it off the person.
Will you
say,
send me that
"Whoever did
later?
this."
And because I'm
Absolutely,
gonna be like,
I got
burning
you.
the chilies. I'm like, Swasti's abuela. Can you
Yeah.
help me.
Hell yeah.
My nanny, you met her.
Oh my god, yes.
She's not I learned it from.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
We were all like, what? On her. But remember, she liked Joyce more, and I was like,
That
get out of
was
here,
really
Joyce.
that was really funny.
She goes like, bye, nice to meet you. And she met Joyce. She goes, you are so beautiful. I'm like, God, Joyce. Get out of here. But no, I mean, that's real.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. What she was just talking about, Guyanese people will call it jare.
Yeah.
That's it's like. It's almost a running joke for Guyanese folks, like because if anything's going wrong in your life, they're gonna be like somebody
Somebody did
you.
this to you,
Yeah.
yeah.
They, barai, and then
Listen, it's possible though.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many
and
like
then,
people.
you gotta get jared.
Yeah.
Jari is the protection.
Yeah. Jaray.
And we call it jarna.
Yeah.
So like
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's funny because for me, I like to do protection spells anyways, right? Like just for like I just like protection and I like to kind of uplift my own spirit. But I also have to think about it in a way that I go, I feel like very protected, and I feel like the women in my family, all my ancestors from my grandmothers, as you know, I'm very attached to like my
Yes.
grandmother, my tias, all the women in my family, I feel like they all, do you remember in Mulan when like, what's his name, the little dragon, Mushu?
Yes.
Mushu. Yeah.
Mushu's like, look alive, look alive,
Yes.
look alive. I feel like that's me with all the women, and I'm like, look alive, and they're all, huh? And they're like, a gay grandson? Yeah, we'll help you out. We like this one. So I feel like I have all of them with me. And then on top of that, I feel like in the way that y'all would protect your baby, specifically maybe as a mother, where you're like, I'll fucking slice anybody as a mama bear.
Oh, yeah.
No one's fucking with my kid.
Yeah.
I feel like I have lineage of, like generations of women behind me that are like, no one's fucking with my kid.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody's like, I'm gonna think of that, I'm like, you haven't met a Salvadorian woman. they will slice and dice you.
Yeah.
you
Big
know?
I
facts.
believe
Big
it.
facts.
Absolutely. So I just feel like that's kind of like why I don't get as like afraid of
Right.
those things.
Yeah.
And by the way, one of the easiest ways to do brujeria on somebody, one of the easiest things that I can do, like, is to be like, oh, I see somebody has done something to you. I've already planted that seed. It could be me.
Oh.
It could literally be me back at my home and being like, oh yeah, like whatever I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I come to you and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I see it. And then you go home and you're like, yo, like something. And then now I'm in.
Yeah.
Now I'm fucking in.
Oh man.
That's so-
that's a devious
Yeah.
strategy.
I love it. Though. I love that. That's great.
So what-
honestly, I'm gonna take that with me.
Would you forgive me if this is an ignorant question?
Please.
But because you're someone that practices brujeria, you would be officially calling yourself a brujo.
You know what? I used to identify as a brujo when I was a little bit younger. I did a really cool interview for like Teen Vogue about it. I was in an AMC documentary talking
What?
about
All right,
it.
we gotta
We're
find those
gonna have
things.
to-
Yeah,
that.
but like I don't want to co-opt certain cultures that actually use those terms for like religious and like
Right.
or magical practices that they practice on the daily, right? So what I
Got
try
you.
to say is I'm like a manifester, and I'm kind of like a person of the universe or a person of the earth. Like I almost don't want titles because I'm not doing what a lot of people say to do, which is like honor the ancestors, bring them stuff and
Yeah.
thank them and da da da.
Yeah.
I'm more playful about it.
Right.
I'm more like I thank them. I'm in constant prayer. I'm in like almost every single day through music or through whatever I'm listening to. I go into like this like space of gratitude, trying to figure out what life is. I'm constantly tearing up and crying because I'm just so in awe of like, what is this? I think
Yeah.
I was
Right.
booped on the head a little too hard as a kid because I'm never like, I wish I was more grounded. Everything to me is like, wow, you know? Like I saw your
love that.
fountain outside. I was like, wow.
It's a lit fountain.
Yeah, that's a
So is
more
my
fun way to live,
reaction.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I think that's kind of where I'm at, where I romanticize everything. Everything
Yeah.
is so beautiful and so romantic to me. But I think, what were we talking about?
We're talking about the title of brujo.
Oh, the title of the Brujo. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about that fountain. That fountain's beautiful out there. But yeah, so I don't like to take it on mostly because of that. But I think that if you were to ask me, like, do I go home? Do I practice spells? Do I practice prayer work? Do I do certain things where I go really deep into meditative spell work? Absolutely, almost every day. It's like something that one of my aunts just had surgery, and I went into deep spell work,
Right.
prayer for her, because I was like, and I did that look alive thing with all the grandmas, like, you gotta go, this is one of your girls. She needs you to be there and be there for her.
Yeah.
I light all my candles.
Yeah.
I do all my prayers. I bow in 3 different areas of my house. The ancestor altar, which is where my abuelas are, in front of la Virgen de Guadalupe. I love her.
Yeah.
She's my ultimate. I wear her all the time. I have her on me to some capacity. She's based off of I think Aztec goddess Donatzin, and then I go to Marta la Dominadora, and I literally physically will bow as I'm like praying and I'm like burning stuff. But I don't know, I wouldn't go out, and because then I have other friends that are really part of like covens, or they're part of like groups that meet and they praise and they sacrifice things and they have ceremony.
I guess probably between different cultures, the term is a little bit subjective, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it wouldn't be incorrect for you to say that you are.
Yeah. I wouldn't, I mean, I'm but I'm that type of person too. When I did fashion, I would literally sew my clothes from drawing out the design, cutting out the pattern, cutting the fabric, sewing everything, doing the hems, doing the fitting on the model, doing the finished product. I didn't call myself a fashion designer. I was see. Like, a fashion designer to me is like Christian Dior, Galliano, or whoever you want to think of. Dior. You know, exactly. Like, I'm just that person where I'm like, I don't want to take up space in y'all's thing. I'm going to do my thing.
I feel you.
Know?
Are you familiar with a story called El Brujo Postergado?
No.
Yo, this shit is fire.
What is it? Are we going to talk about it?
Yeah, you should read it. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's a mad short story, so if you Google it, you'll find it. I don't want to get this wrong, but I think it's Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I think.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the whole like magic realism movement? Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So this story, this is one of the stories that got me. Like, when I was in high school Spanish, I went on to do a minor in Spanish literature because of like, I was all about this shit. So we read this story. It takes place in Spain, I think, and it's about a brujo that's like coming to like, or an aspiring one that's coming to an established one. Yeah. Looking to learn tricks of the trade. He wants to be an apprentice, but to learn. And so the real OG brujo is kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, want to make sure that we can't just use this shit for evil. It seems like, he's power hungry type of a shit. Yeah. You know, he needs to test him out. And he's like, all right, I'll agree to teach you under XYZ conditions. The twist that happens, it's like, honestly, it's crazy that this hasn't been made into a movie yet. Like, the twists are just like nuts.
I
like,
want to check this out.
Yo, you gotta, whenever you go home, it'll take you like 10 minutes to read it. Yeah. So just check it and then let us know what you thought.
I would love that. The one thing that I do think is really interesting for me is my belief in letting other brujos or brujas or bruhexes doing stuff for you, because I almost feel like, no, let me show you what to do, because I think it's more powerful if you do it. Right. I feel like I can do certain things for you from a distance. Like, my sister will be like, me and the kids saw something weird in the house, can you come and bless it? And I'm like, I'm not scared of that. Like, I'm not scared of ghosts. I think we talked about this one time, but I will dream that I'm like talking to ghosts, and I've actually talked to like brujas and other people where I'm like, I'm always annoyed and I want to be nicer, because I'm in my dreams, I'm like, like, what do you want? Like, what is happening? Like, go away. And I'm just like, I'm never scared, I'm just mad. Yeah. And I'm like, I would like to not be mad at them, because they've done nothing but just like, just show up. Yeah. But like, I think that if you go into your own magic and your own intentions, I think you really have that power to do those things, you know?
That totally makes sense.
When you're dreaming about ghost interactions, are you feeling like that you can control yourself in that dream, or you're just watching yourself do it?
Is it a lucid dream?
I don't know if it's lucid, but they're more like, so like there was one where it was a ghost and it was moving things. It was like bending things and just throwing things, like kind of poltergeist-ish. And I was so annoyed, not scared, but I'm like, what?
That is annoying.
I'm annoyed, you know? I'm like, oh, you're making a mess, right? Yeah. So I'm seeing her move stuff around. I'm not seeing her, but I know it's her. And then something said, ask her what she wants. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't know why I didn't think of that. I should be nice. I'm nice to everybody else. Why would it, So I was like, hey, what do you need? And suddenly everything stopped moving. Things started to kind of be put back into place. And I saw the spirit writing on the wall. And they started to write that they were actually a female doctor. I don't remember what country it was, but that she had been murdered because she had seen something or done something. Oh, wow. But that she was in medicine and she was wrongfully murdered by some man. I don't know if that is current, past life, I don't know. But I know that this was, once I learned that, everything kind of just calm down. But I have a lot of those dreams where I'm talking to a spirit and I'm like, I'm learning to go, what happened? Because usually my immediate reaction is like, you're like, it is. I don't know why I'm always annoyed. Like, I'm always just like so annoyed.
Figure it out.
What do you want me to do about it? But no, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I want to take a quick step back because I just realized, I don't know if we asked this, but for the people who may not know who are listening, how would you explain what brujeria is?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, brujeria is kind of like a Spanish word that would explain witchcraft. That would say I guess it would be witchcraft, but it means a lot of different things to different people. There's different sections. There's different people who have different practices that are rooted in like African culture, indigenous culture, a mixture of all of them. And then there's people who just pass down tiny little spells from their grandmas and their parents, you know? So I feel like it's kind of a easy answer to that is witchcraft, but then the more broad answer, it's like, it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you ever learn anything from Abuelita Gladys?
So Gladys I actually didn't know that she was into brujeria until her dementia started to kind of get a little bit worse.
No way.
Yeah, and family would have to go in and kind of... She would tell me about it, but I didn't realize the extent of it.
Okay.
And so family would go in and clean her stuff. And
She was keeping it low-key.
Yeah, they would find her oils. They would find like things that were bound together, wrapped
Right.
up. And I actually would ask her... like about certain spirits, so she would, you know, about like San Simon, so she
Right.
would say like, don't mess with him because he's really jealous, or work with. I think I remember her saying like, work with him, but maybe don't because he's very jealous. But
Right.
if you want, do whatever you want. So it's things like that. But like one of my aunts, I had a really terrible manager at the place we used to work at. Early days.
That shall not be named.
Yes,
Yeah,
like just really
unnamed.
bad. And I told my aunt what was happening, and she's like, okay, what you do is you go to the cemetery, you get soil, and then you sprinkle it under her desk.
Holy
and
shit.
you, like, I forget what she told me to say, but she's like, you basically will dominate this person.
Did you do
I
it?
am
No.
obsessed with this.
Oh, bro.
Stop.
What?
This is
That was like a blue ball.
You
of a
want me to go to the fucking cemetery? Well, no, but I did. There was another. I will say this though. There was another senora at a dinner I went to, and I was really. This person really made me really depressed. My first 8 months of this company, it was
Yeah.
really intense for me, really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this senora was like, "I have a prayer for you. Say this prayer 3 times, plug in their name, and they'll be fine. I mean, and you'll be fine." So I did it. It's completely in Spanish.
Yeah.
And I remember she was giving me a hard time at work, and I went into the bathroom and I started reading this prayer, and I read it and I was like, oh, okay, it's whatever. I read it the second time, and halfway through the second time I realized like, oh, this is a spell. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it was something similar of like, may you be as restless as the seas of the earth. May I run through your mind constantly, and may you continuously run through the earth, like, or something just like making you restless. I'm making you restless with my name in your head.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, oh, I should try that again. And then you do it the third time. It worked.
No way.
She backed
yes.
off of me completely. Things started to shift, like,
Wow.
Yes.
quickly. But things started happening to me.
Bad things?
Kind of. Like, I got like a flat tire off the road literally the next day. After that, like, I think somebody broke into my car, and then I think I chipped my tooth. Like, literally, like, right after the other.
Is it a trade-off?
What was the reason for the blowback? Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like to me it was kind of like a balance of things, and there were simple things that weren't too wild. Like,
Right.
you can always fix your car, and you can always like get another not another tooth,
Yeah.
but get it capped or
Yeah.
whatever. But I just remember thinking like, oh, you can maybe mess with the energy to some extent, but you'll have to pay it in some way as well.
You know what's so
Yeah.
interesting about that? I feel like in almost every story, whether movie, book, whatever, about in any culture, people seeking help from anything paranormal or supernatural, it's always that case where at first somebody thinks that, all right, this is great, this is almost too good to be true, but there's always a debt to be paid.
That's fact.
Which you might not be aware of at first, and maybe it's big, maybe it's little, but there is some no free lunch.
Right.
Well, but also too, by the way, as you get early, I really feel like the idea of this no free lunch thing, right? Like, you look at all these narcissists out here and all these people who are getting plenty of free lunches.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's
I'm like,
true, huh?
I'm out here being a good person and being like, I'm not gonna da-da-da-da. But so I try to be like, as long as my magic, my prayer, my intentions is just to keep me safe, protected, possibly a way for me to be the best person that I can be.
Right.
I don't think that it would be like too bad. I feel like the universe and the energy, whatever is out there, knows and understands that I think that as a human being, I've done and I continue to put as much good into the world as I can.
Yeah.
I'm a little mischievous. I'm a little playful. So was my grandmother. I always tell people that if I were to be a character in the Alice of Wonderland and you came into the forest, I would be like your Cheshire cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be like, like, I want you to win, but we're going to have a little fun.
Yeah.
I might watch you trip and fall and be like, okay, let's get you out of there. You know? Like, I mean, I of course I want everybody to win always, but no, all that stuff, like, I think that's what I kind of asked when I just put up a post about ancestor magic about my grandmother, because I
saw it.
I saw it. We were actually going to ask you about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because like that was really, really interesting and
yeah. I mean, my grandma, for those who may not know, was truly one of like my soulmates. Like from the minute I was born, I remember being so fascinated by her. We would argue. I would be a little kid and being like, right? Like not understanding. And then as we got older, we kind of just became really good friends where we just understood each other's humor. There was there was nothing that I could say to her that would shock her. There was nothing that she could say to me that would shock me. She would start all the dirty jokes. I wouldn't. Like I was raised well. I would never ever, I'm playful with y'all, but I would never hang out with your parents and be like, have you heard of orgasm magic? You know? By the way, I always describe myself with a cigarette in my hand, always.
I can't imagine your mom like reacting to that.
She would,
sort of
I
thing.
think, have just a straight heart attack.
Ironic. I think my mom would find it really funny, but, but not hers. Yeah.
I mean, I might feel it out later if I'm like, you know, if we're, I don't know, on a road trip randomly, and I'm like, hey, but like, my grandmother would always start it. So one of the things that we would always say, because, you know, she has her brujería and I have my stuff, and one of the things that we would always say is whoever died first, we would flicker the lights for each other. That's our thing.
Yeah.
And towards the end of her mind, that was like a mind that I understood, and the beginning and the peak of her dementia, I started to see flickering lights everywhere. And at first, the first time I saw it, I was like, is that a bad omen? Like, what is the... But I am very much like, it's a bad omen if you think it's a bad omen.
Right. Yes.
I'm always going to make it a positive thing. Yeah. I literally could walk out, see a dead rat, and be like, it's gonna be a good day for me. You know what I mean? Sorry, rat. I mean, poor rat. But like, sorry, I started thinking about the rat, because rats are actually really nice and they're really smart.
I love rats.
Sorry.
She's all about rats.
Love rats.
I don't mean to like ADHD on your asses, but I was like, aww. So I see them everywhere now. I think of her. I think of her as like, oh, that's like a sign.
When you say everywhere, is like at your house? Is that like just places that you're going out?
I went to like my ex-boyfriend's house like a few days after she passed, and their AC turned on, and the lights, they had lights like that actually. They started to go like, it almost felt like like kind of started to flicker, and then I was like, is that, they're like, oh, that just started happening like recently. And I'm like, oh. And then I slept over and I was on the couch and everybody was asleep and my ex-boyfriend was sleeping next to me and the lights were off, and it's very much connected to the AC. Anytime the AC or whatever would turn on, it would, like, that's what it was. But the lights were off and the AC turned on, and the lights were like almost like trying so hard they started, and it almost felt like a like where they went on like really bright and then flickered off. And I'm like, I don't know if that's just a fucking coincidence. I've never seen that before.
Right.
And that was literally one of the things that I said, girl, when you make it to the other side, you got to do this.
Let me know.
Yeah. And so I have that. And so those are things for me. But the post that we're talking about, it was so, there's this amazing bruja named Monse. If you want like a cool Mexican bruja, hit her up. She's bilingual. She's super dope. Really, like, her points of views in the world are just like wild. You know?
We'll have to check her out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, she was like, your grandmother's on the other side, and she remembers all the things that you did for her in life, and now she wants to not repay you, but she wants to show you the same love and attention.
Right.
And so she's like, she's working with you, and she's helping you. She's going to help you reach all your goals. I kid you not. 3 days later, 4 days later, within the week, an old friend from the company we used to work at, who I worked with 6 years ago, haven't spoken to maybe since then, besides a little hello every now and then.
Right.
Hits me up. She's like, hey, I don't have your number. I tried texting you. Can I text you? So we end up talking. She's like, this other company is looking for a host for their new show, and it's about death. And they were like,
oh shit.
Actually, we saw you, and we were like, hey, like, can you come do this? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, we saw videos of you and your grandma, and we saw that you just went through this, so we think you'd actually be... And I have such a twisted humor when it comes to death. Like, I was like, I have 3 things that I want people to do when I die. I want to be cremated, and I either want you to throw me on somebody I hate, like, I want you to throw me on my man so he never gets married again. Or if we're divorced, I want you to put me in his gas tank so we could fuck up his car.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. That's incredible. That's
Gangster shit right there, bro.
My friend was like saying something about how like we're gonna make him take a trip to O'Reilly's, like to the Jiffy Lube to fuck it up. But I'm like, so I like to joke about it. So they're like, come in.
Yeah.
So I get there. I have the most beautiful, beautiful trip. Like truly just so wonderful. Like a team of women, number one, amazing. Entire team of women, predominantly women of color. Amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I end up going to, I'm just so thankful. And like I told you guys, I live in this space of romance all the time. And, you know, I'm always just like, how did I get here? How did this happen?
Right.
Like me, of all people. I don't want to get emotional now. But like I was there and I went to this restaurant and the hostess was like, do you want to sit at the bar? I was like, I don't. I would like a table if that's okay. Like I want to just chill.
Right.
And so then she came back later and she's like, well, we only have patio. Is that okay with you? And I'm like, and it was a hot Texas day. So I'm like, I can understand why people don't want it, but I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I'm okay, you know?
Yeah.
I go out there. It's the most beautiful table. We're like on a hill. We're overlooking like a forest, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference between a forest and a shit ton of trees, but there is a shit ton of trees, right?
Yeah.
I don't know when do we get to forest level, but it's a lot of trees, a lot of hills, and I felt so lucky that and the weather was fine. And then I felt so lucky. I felt so cool. Everything was really dope, and I was going into prayer mode, being really thankful to ancestors and my grandma, and like I feel like she got me the job, right?
Yeah.
And suddenly I'm like eating and I see something like flicker in the distance, and I'm like, no way.
That's
no fucking way.
wild.
I'm like, no fucking
Jinx.
way. So I look up and I'm like, I see just a dark blue sky, and I notice that it's like lightning, like it's flickering, and I'm like, and I'm watching it get progressively stronger, and I felt like, look, I don't know that my grandma's fucking Storm from X-Men. I don't know if she's like this wild spirit that can control the weather, but I almost felt like I was brought to that small moment, that tender moment of just sitting by myself at a dinner table in a whole ass different state.
Yeah.
When that job came out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And because of dealing with the grief and the death, and I remembered her there, and I thought of her there, and I was just like, and I keep saying like, it doesn't matter if it was her or not. What matters is like I remembered her and I lived her spirit and I was there, and so for me I'm like, that's our magic, like that's our brujería.
It was obviously her.
Thank
it
you
had
for
to
that.
have been. It definitely was.
Very Leo energy.
I believe it 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so beautiful to be able to, I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like the connection, those moments and those tiny things of just letting the whisper of life kind of just guide you.
Yeah.
You know, and then not only being grateful for them, but in absolute awe of them. Do y'all believe in like heaven and the other side and all those things? Or?
I definitely believe in something, yes. Just because there's been too many interactions, like spirit interactions, for me to believe that. I just don't think that you die and that's it. You know what I mean? I do believe that there's like something there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but there's like beyond here for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and people are watching out for you.
Yeah.
Because similar to what you're saying, actually, my mom, well, when she was having my sister, she wasn't supposed to survive that pregnancy. And my sister was born really early. But my grandma, same one you met, had a dream that her mother was watching that birth and said, you know what, Ritu's not going to make it, but don't worry about it. I'm going to go handle it and help her. So my mom was like, her heartbeat stopped and everything. And they were like, well, this is it. She's done. She's out. And suddenly, by some miracle, she like came back, survived the pregnancy. My sister survived. I definitely think that was my mom's grandma, you know, who like came through from wherever she was.
That is so wild.
Yeah. These are like wholesome ghost stories, spirit stories.
No, I love
which
that. I mean, honestly, that's what I think we need more of, if I'm honest with you, because there's such a fear of ghosts and spirits, and I'm like, why? Like, why not talk to them and ask them for help? But Tenn, do you believe in heaven or the other side, or?
I do, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I know what to qualify it as, so I don't know if I would say like necessarily heaven or not, but I definitely do believe in something beyond.
Yeah.
Again, because of experiences, I feel like you might have heard when you were present at story gatherings we've had, but like we've had experiences with Scooter.
What?
Yeah.
Multiple times. I mean, from the moment that he passed, even till very like recently, every so often we'll have experiences. And interestingly, not just us, like my boy Matt, who's like one of my day one homies, like Matt is, I would say he's way more like in tune with his sixth sense than other people. Like he's had experiences, but there's like, I remember one time when I was home, this is just like one example of recent. It was when Clifford came out. You remember the movie Clifford?
Yeah.
I was in New York and I was watching Clifford, and like it made me think of Scooter. So I was sad, and then like I went upstairs. I was in my room. I was just like super sad about it, and then I got on FaceTime with Matt. And he was like, "Did you have like a Scooter like blanket or a pillow or something?" And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "Holy shit, dude! Like I just swear to God, like I saw Scooter sitting right next to you on your bed, and now I don't. Like now it's gone." He's like, "I thought it must have been like you had something."
Wow.
And I didn't even. It's not like I told him like I was thinking about Scooter, or anything like that. But it was like So I guess
I love that. Gladys, come on. If Scooter can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
She might have done it, but like
but you just didn't see.
She's all, bitch, I fucking gave you a thunderstorm.
I got you a job.
For real. I got you a job. And then on the way here, I was like, I wish you could send me blah, blah, blah. She's like, damn, girl. You're so right. You're right. You can relax.
We do the same thing, though. Be like, Scooter, can you help us out with XYZ?
No, mad times. We've been asking for a lot of help with our new pup because
Yeah.
poor guy's suffering through so many different medical issues.
Yeah.
So we'll be like, yo, man. But you know what's interesting is she recently had an experience with a medium.
Yes.
Oh my God, tell me.
It was all of us were sitting at the table, and she was just asking people who they wanted to talk to, and she was also speaking about spirits that she could feel. So at some point while she's in someone else's session, she goes, "Oh, did everyone feel that?" And like some people were like, "We felt something against our legs." And she goes, "There's like a dog spirit here." Because she started off asking all of us to think about who we wanted to come visit. So I thought about Scooter.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "A dog spirit?" And then she's like, "Anyone want to claim that?" And I was like, "Well, I do, because I asked my dog to come here and nobody else had done so." So she basically pulls up, she had these two prongs.
Yeah.
And like crosses mean yes. And
Oh, yeah. They hold them like this.
Yeah, you hold them like this. And
Yeah.
such a crazy thing.
Yeah.
So she found out that not only was he our first dog who had passed away, she knew that I had another one. And I didn't say anything about it. I was really careful to hide my paw print tattoo because I didn't want her to like think of anything.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "Oh yeah, you have another dog. This dog chose him for you." And then she asked him a series of questions like, "Are you helping train the other dog?" And he was like, "Nah." It's like, not my problem. But do you come visit the other dog? Yes. Do you come visit like your parents? Yes. And then she like goes, "Oh, you guys have like a yellow toy?" And I was like, "Yeah, we do. Do you still have his toys?" "Yeah, we do." "Oh, good. He likes playing with them."
And we actually, when she said, we actually have noticed, like even previous to her saying that like his favorite toy is this little squeaky duck.
It's like a little
and
yellow
we
dog.
leave it by his ashes, and it does move positions. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
like not by us, like, you know what I mean? But you'll be like, oh, it's in a different position that we left it in.
Yeah.
I love so much that y'all love your dog this much because I love my dog so much and my animals. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love that you have a tattoo, by the way, because I'm like, that's something. So my first pit bull's name is Frank, and he's, I think, on his way out. Beautiful, kind pit bull. And I was thinking about getting Frank tatted on me, but I was like, I don't know what any new boyfriend would think and be like, who the fuck is Frank? I'm like, my dog.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
You know who Frank is,
Yeah. If they can't understand and accept it,
Yeah.
on their way out.
Look, I don't know if you've ever dated a Latino man before, but they're fucking jealous. They'd be like, no, I don't fucking believe you. Show me the
Show me the dog.
Are they like San Simon?
Yeah, I was just gonna say San
Absolutely.
Simon.
I mean, I feel like I would date San Simon more than I would date some of these guys out here. But no, I love the idea that spirits do come and dogs and all that stuff. I don't know that I believe in, I think about science a lot too. I'm also somebody that really enjoys physics and the idea that energy never ceases to exist. It only changes form.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I love the idea that, what is it, entropy or something? Like how it extends, and it can also, eventually things will run out of energy, but it'll just be, not that it stops existing, but it's so stretched that it doesn't really,
It's not useful anymore.
it's not useful anymore. I think that's what entropy is. And sorry if I'm like messing it up, which is probably not.
Sure, we'll have scientists, commentaries that
I
are
know the
shitting on
term
us. Yeah.
entropy exists. I don't really know what it means, but we're
I might
gonna.
be fucking it up.
Yeah.
More than likely I'm fucking it up. But I think that like, so I'm not sure what it is that I believe happens when I go. Do I keep my identity? Do I stay as the same person?
Right.
I oftentimes think of myself as a cup of water getting thrown back into the ocean of energy, right?
Be water, my friend.
Exactly. And then you're like another cup and you get scooped up, and so I'm still part of it. I don't cease to exist. But maybe that's how I'm part of you, and y'all are part of me to some extent, you know? So I'm not sure what that feels like. I'm not sure what happens after. I hope that I get to maintain my identity.
Yeah.
I hope I look like Sade and I'm like walking around heaven, you know, walking around whatever it is. And I hope that I'm like that for the rest of my life, like just chilling, you know?
Yeah.
But
man.
That's always really interesting to listen to what other people think. And what you're saying is like pretty similar to like Hinduism in that we all believe it. We believe it's just one energy. It's all one divine energy running through everybody.
Yeah.
And our ultimate goal is to like go back and fuse with the energy.
Is that called samsara? No. What is that called when it's like when you finally get up there?
It's
Moksha?
Moksha
Is what you're trying to attain?
Yeah, so it's very much we're all one. We're all just trying to like make it back and stay there. And you have to be a really good person in order to be able to stay. So you keep getting reincarnated into different forms, different lives, and it's your energy in different meat sacks.
Right. Until you perfect it.
Until you perfect it, and then you finally get to join with the divine energy, and that's your ultimate goal. And you keep coming back here to fix your fuck ups, but when you come back, you don't remember what that deal was that you made.
Yeah.
So you got to figure it out.
I love that so much. I love the idea of being given more than one chance, more than one opportunity, right? And I meet some people all the time where I'm like, oh my God, you have so much work to do. And you're already on your way out. Like, my parents,
oh, shit.
the elders in my family, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But like, I love that.
So I know you mentioned earlier that you were never scared through any experiences that you've had. But I was curious as to whether, or what is the wildest experience you've ever had if somebody's done brujeria on you?
Was there anything potentially unnerving?
Yeah, anything like something that maybe a normal person would be scared of? Things that you've seen or occurrences?
Not brujeria, because again, I just don't get like, my family comes from Central America. We're Central Americans that were conquered, right? So I'm like, I'm essentially in the land of my ancestors right now. The spirits are here. I feel so protected, right?
Yeah.
But I think in terms of ghost stuff, like I will, just to kind of go full circle and talk about orgasming and sexual stuff and ghosts. I was with this guy and we were gonna hook up back when I used to be young and do those things, and we were in his living room and we were kind of like engaging with each other sexually, and he was like, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So he goes to the bathroom and this something in the kitchen popped its head out and then went back in.
Oh fuck.
And I remember looking at it and being like, huh, interesting. Like, I think I saw what I saw, but I'm not sure.
Was it dark or was there light?
It was dark.
Yeah.
It was a dark figure, but it popped out long enough for me to notice it and then popped back in. And then he came back out and I go, hey, is your place like haunted? Is there a spirit here? And he's like, yeah, why? And I'm like, what? I think I just saw it. And he's like, in the kitchen? And I'm like,
fuck.
Yeah.
It likes to eat.
Yeah. He was
That's
like,
me.
yeah, I mean, he had seen it, like his kids had seen it. I think they called him Ted or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Like something very like generic. But like, I don't remember being scared. I think we ended up like jacking off with each other and it was like, it's like, get back in that kitchen, sir. You know, like,
or watch from the kitchen.
yeah, or watch from the kitchen.
Yeah.
Live your best life, diva. Live your best afterlife, diva. You know, but no, I don't think that I get, you know, scared of a lot of things. Like
That's
I would have
That would
run.
have scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I would have been like, I'm out. Dog.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think that it's a clear signal that what we were just saying, like we don't know what happens.
Yeah.
But maybe this isn't the end. And how cool is it that if we get to live in the kitchen and be like,
Eat
what's
a
going on?
sandwich.
Oh.
You know,
Are y'all hungry out there? Oh.
oh shit. Man, well, Curly, thanks so much for taking the time out to be our guest today,
Thank you
man.
so much for having me.
Yeah,
that was so
absolutely.
much fun.
This was a
Such a
pleasure.
joy.
We learned so much today, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like this was like
I love
such an
that. Thank you.
informative episode. Like, unlike the usual like retelling of a scary story, I love how like there were wholesome parts. There were like there were parts where you actually learned something new. This is
Thank
very
you
cool.
so much. And I learned something new too. And I love the idea that we can keep coming back until we get back to
Yeah.
source
Yes.
eventually. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
And that about wraps it up for another episode of Ectoplasm and Evil. We'll see you next time.
Or will we?
Ah.